Hello, everyone. I'll see how this comes out, being the hour, middle of the night that it is, but I keep not having time during reasonable hours, so I wanted to get this out so you guys can see it, and so I can move on with my real work, my other real work. Anyway, the discussion on the talk list, WebDNA talk list the other day about MVC, Model View Controller, separating um, logic code from presentation code, I thought was quite poignant and relevant and important. And, as a response to Donovan, I wanted to describe my experience with learning the PHP framework, CodeIgniter, in the last year. But as I started to do that, in email, I realized, it was not nearly as effective just writing about it as to just start to draft something in code. And so I set out to do that, and over the course of an hour or something, I realized I really wanted to write something that was, something more demonstrative of what can be done. Just, even just real rough first pass draft of mimicking the behavior of CodeIgniter. And I thought I was just going to do just sort of a, just a mock something just to show, just to give people a visual way to relate to the concepts, at least in the way that I'd experienced them. And as I did that, I realized, if I'm going to bother at all, I might as well make something really useful. I mean, I don't know how useful. We'll see how far it gets, and if anyone actually finds it useful, but at least interesting enough for me to bother, and something that I would want to reuse. So anyway, blah blah blah. I've done that, and after taking a week, basically a week out of my paid client work, which I didn't have, but I just couldn't resist because it was so much fun. Because I got really creative with it, and when you're writing pure creative stuff, it's infinitely more fun than just chore coding. Um, I just couldn't help myself, so I took a week and I've done this, and now I want to show you. So okay, let me just back up and say from the beginning. And forgive my language, it being a mix of tones directed towards the experts amongst the WebDNA programmers and tones towards the novices. I really want this to be accessible to everybody. So for you experts, forgive me for being a little slow and repetitive and saying obvious and boring things. And for you novices, I'm sorry if I go too fast, and you'll be able to figure it out. Just ask on the talk list or email me or call me or whatever. Maybe others will get involved and they can explain. But don't be shy and dive right in. So anyway, framework, what I've written is a framework. And to me, a framework just means a code base that saves you time. It's a bunch of pre-written stuff that you can use to leverage to reduce the amount of code you've got to write and to have cool features in your web application. I mean, any language, I suppose, is a kind of a framework, but frameworks are usually tools and features that are written in a language. It's not the language itself, but so it's things written with it. So I've written a framework that offers some really cool pre-manufactured, pre-bundled features. So if you just drop in the framework, you use it, you install it, and you write your website or your web application in the context of the framework, then you've automatically got all this great things you can take advantage of without having to write any code. I nicknamed this framework WebDNA Code Sparker. It's sort of a silly name and sort of a mouthful, but I just wanted to honor where the ideas came from, and that was from PHP's CodeIgniter, as I said. And so imitating the name CodeIgniter is Code Sparker. So it's WebDNA Code Sparker, WCS for short. All right. The acronym for the company that now owns the WebDNA language is WSC, WebDNA Software Corporation. So you just reverse the C and the S, and you've got the acronym for this new framework I wrote. Inspired by CodeIgniter, I said that. It's a great foundation. I'd love to see several of us get involved and really develop this thing to something that we would all be proud of and all want to use for our own projects and want to share with people that wanted something to save them time. Novices that come, new WebDNA programmers. Anyway, it should be at least be believable enough to bother and have a good time with it and not just think it's nonsense. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. It was the best thing I could do with the time that I have, which was, wasn't even supposed to be a day, but turned out to be a week. Given the tools, I mean, I would love to see WebDNA developed further so that we've got proper classes with inheritance and so on and so forth. Lots and lots of tools. I mean, just some string manipulation and arrays and things that, as I was writing the code, I realized I could have done much faster in PHP. But on the other hand, there was so much that was much faster to do in WebDNA, which I'm grateful for. So this is really wordy. I think what I'm going to do is just stop this video and then make the actual demo of some of the features in a different one.